Nigeria regulating virtual assets could actually be bad for some investors, but on the other hand, it could be very good for others. This is because when most people hear that the Nigerian government has signed an executive order on virtual assets, they immediately think government has finally accepted cryptocurrency. I think that is the wrong conclusion. The more interesting question is who benefits as Nigeria starts regulating the crypto industry and who gets squeezed in this new executive order. Because this is not simply a story about Bitcoin, it is a story about your money, your exchange platform, taxes, stablecoin, fintech companies, and potentially the future of digital investing in Nigeria. So let us break down what this new executive order actually means and its impact. Let's go. So we are going to break down this video into several parts to get simpler perspectives. So let's look at part 1. What did the government actually do? On July 17, 2026, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the Presidential Executive Order on Virtual Assets Coordination. And let me make one important clarification. This is an executive order, not a new act passed by the National Assembly. The purpose is largely to improve coordination between government agencies dealing with virtual assets, and the agencies involved are the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Security and Exchange Commission, the Nigeria Revenue Services, and also the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, that is NFIU. And this matters because Nigeria's crypto market has grown far faster than traditional regulatory system. Think about it. You can buy Bitcoin from your phone. You can receive stable coins from somebody in another country. You can trade Bitcoin 24/7. You can move digital assets across different borders. And the government still has to answer a very old-fashioned question. Who is responsible for regulating all of this? This executive order is partly an attempt to answer this question. The presidency says the objectives of this executive order include investor protection, fighting fraud, strengthening the financial system, and encouraging responsible innovation. Hence, the launch of Sandbox Framework, which was designed to safely integrate modern finance into the Nigerian economy, which operates under a new dual track structure. This represents a massive shift on how the CBN handles digital finance. So let's look at part 2. Let us know what does virtual assets actually mean. This is where things get interesting. When you hear virtual assets, don't think only about cryptocurrencies. The broader digital asset universe includes Bitcoin, stable coins, gift cards, you have utility tokens, security tokens, you also have NFTs and other digital representation of value. So if you are an investor who thinks, I don't own Bitcoins, so this law does not really apply to me, you may want to think again because the regulation framework is much broader than Bitcoin. The Nigeria Security and Exchange Commission already has laws covering digital asset offerings, digital asset exchange, custodian, and virtual asset service providers. But this executive order that is newly signed is bringing all the agencies on a round table to integrate virtual currencies into the traditional financial system. So let's check out this illustration. Emeka has 2 million naira. He does not understand blockchain. He does not know what a smart contract is. He simply sees someone online saying, put your money here, you will make about 300%. Emeka transferred 2 million naira to a crypto platform. For 3 months, everything seems as if it's going well. His account moved from 2 million to 3 million and even subsequently to 4 million. Then one morning, he woke up. He tries to log into the investment platform. The website isn't working anymore. He tried customer service. That too is not working. The social media account has disappeared. And suddenly, Emeka asks the question he should have asked from the onset before even investing. Who regulates this company? That is where stronger regulation make the difference. Let's look at part 3 to know whether the target of this new executive order is your Bitcoin. This is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings because the government is not simply saying everybody owning Bitcoin must surrender their assets. That is not what this is all about. The bigger regulatory focus is the businesses surrounding virtual assets. Nigeria Security and Exchange Commission already has regulatory framework covering several of these activities. So the future could look very different from the Wild West environment investors became accustomed to. Just imagine two crypto companies. Company A, it has proper governance. It identifies with its customers. It keeps proper records. It complies with regulation. It takes custody seriously. Then company B, nobody knows who owns it. It promises extraordinary returns. It operates through anonymous social media accounts. It does not clearly explain where customers' money is held. Under a more regulated environment, company B has a much bigger problem, and that may not be bad for all investors because regulation can create a survival test. The serious companies may survive while the weak ones may end up disappearing. Now let's jump onto the next part. Let us talk about taxes. This is where ordinary investors need to pay attention because one dangerous assumption is crypto is digital, so the government cannot see it. That assumption is becoming increasingly outdated. Nigeria's tax framework now covers digital assets broadly, including crypto assets and other forms of digital assets. So let us say that Ekaete buys an asset for 4 million naira, later disposes it for 7 million naira. That is a 3 million naira profit right there. The important point is not that every transaction automatically means the same tax bill. The Nigerian Revenue Service has developed specific rules for the taxation and reporting of virtual asset transactions. So investors need to start thinking about records, purchases prices, sales prices, transaction histories, and tax obligations. So somebody might ask, what about stablecoin? This could become one of the most interesting parts of the entire story. Imagine a Nigerian freelancer working for an American company. Instead of receiving traditional dollars like into a bank account, the freelancer receives a dollar-linked stablecoin. Suddenly, you have got crypto plus payment plus foreign exchange plus taxation plus financial regulation all meeting in one place. And that is why governments around the world are paying increasing attention to stablecoins. Regulation is not automatically good for everybody. Think of yourself running a small crypto platform. Yesterday, your biggest expenses was technology. Tomorrow, you may also have compliance costs, reporting requirements, customer verification, registration costs, tax, and so on and so forth. Then you realize that operating a crypto business becomes much more expensive. Some companies will adapt, others may leave. And that means investors would eventually have fewer but more credible platforms to invest in. Also, you should know who to call if you have an issue with an investment token, right? You know that it is the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, that handles that part of investment. If you have an issue with a crypto payments application, you now know that it is the Central Bank of Nigeria that handles payments for virtual asset, that is. The jurisdictional lines are finally drawn.
If you're getting value from this video and you heard something new today, hit that like button, or you can drop a comment too. Just a like or a comment will trigger the YouTube algorithm to show this video to 10 new people. And if you think I'm deserving of it, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. Subscribe now. And with that said, Let's get back to the video.
So let's look at the next part to see how the Western world dealt with crypto regulation. Nigeria is not the only country moving in this direction. The European Union introduced market in crypto asset regulation. This established a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets and crypto asset service providers. Their main provisions started applying in December 2024, with certain stablecoin provisions applying much earlier. And here is the important lesson. Europe did not say crypto must disappear. The approach was closer to, if you are going to build a financial business surrounding cryptocurrency, there are rules you have to follow. Nigeria is moving in a broader, similar direction, although the Nigerian executive order should not be confused with that of the European framework. They are not the same legal framework, but the direction is interesting. So, is this regulation good or bad for virtual assets? Here is where I want to challenge the popular narrative. If somebody tells you Nigeria related crypto, therefore Bitcoin will go up, be very careful. This is absolutely speculation. Regulation does not guarantee an increase in Bitcoin's price. Bitcoin can still fall. A stable coin can still have risk. It cannot eliminate investment risk. So let us see who could actually benefit from this executive order. I think investors should watch the infrastructure around crypto, not just the coins. Watch crypto exchanges, watch the custodians, the fintech companies, the payment companies, even blockchain infrastructure, tokenization businesses. Because sometimes the biggest investment opportunity is not selling the gold, it is selling the shovels and the picks to the gold miners. So let's jump into part 6. Let's look at how this regulation would affect the Nigerian exchange. Now let us bring it back to base. If you own, say, Jitco, Zenith Bank, UBA, Dangote Cement, Boa Food, Better Glass, or even federal government securities, this executive order does not suddenly transform those investments into virtual assets. Your traditional investment still remains governed under their existing framework, but there could be indirect effects. Fintechs and payment companies may increasingly interact with the digital asset ecosystem, and companies that increasingly build products around these emerging markets could potentially create new business opportunities. But again, don't confuse potential with guaranteed returns. Here is my contrarian conclusion. I don't think the most important story is Nigeria has regulated Bitcoin. I think the bigger story is Nigeria is beginning to treat digital assets as part of the financial ecosystem that needs a formal regulatory architecture. That is much bigger, because once regulators become clear about how they can operate, what they can offer, and how customers are protected, how transactions are monitored, and how taxes are handled, you can start getting something the crypto industry has historically struggled with. That is trust. And trust can attract serious capital. There is another angle to this. More regulation could mean higher costs, less anonymity, more reporting, more scrutiny, and potentially fewer operators. So if you are someone who entered crypto, right, because you thought nobody knows what is it that you are doing, the environment is moving in the opposite direction. But if you are an investor who wants better transparency, better accountability, and more credible financial businesses, this development could eventually be very significant for you. So here is what I want you to take away from this video. Number one, Nigeria is not banning crypto. Number two, The executive order is about creating stronger coordination among the agencies dealing with virtual assets. Number 3, the definition of virtual asset is much broader than just Bitcoin. Number 4, exchanges, custodians, issuers, and other crypto businesses are likely to face increasing regulatory scrutiny. Number 5, taxation is becoming an important part of digital assets conversation. And finally, regulation does not make crypto safe. It simply changes the environment in which crypto operates. Therefore, a smart investor is not supposed to ask, should I buy Bitcoin because Nigeria is regulating it? The smarter question is, which digital assets, companies, and platforms will actually survive Nigeria's new regulation era? Because that is where this story will become very impactful. So if you got value from this video so far, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. You may want to watch this video over here to know how it is that you can claim your lost dividend or forgotten dividend from the Nigerian exchange. As I say, wealth doesn't come by luck, it is built from information followed with execution. Until next time, I salute.